3, 2, 1. Hey guys, El here, and today we're going to be making a review video on Elsword. Before I start this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, as I'll be doing more review content like this. So guys, inside this review there are multiple different points that decide on whether or not you should play a game that I compiled, so I'll be explaining them all here. Starting with the developers. Developers is something important in the game because developers can impact the game as a whole. So for this game, Elsword, the developers are KOG Games. If you didn't know, these developers are not the best. They're known for very negative things and doing pay to win and not taking feedback, etc. And it seems like they don't even, with the additions that they do, it seems like they don't even play the game that much because, for example, the balance patches recently, they can't really make up their mind. They keep on nerfing this up to oblivion and then buffing this OP thing already to God tier, and then they gonna nerf things even further beyond, which is kind of just stressing me out sometimes. So yeah, KOG is not the best. They also do not deal with their bugs, like for example the Souls Fortress parkour bug and the Debris and Laboratory camera bug. And Debris and Laboratory is in end game, so it should be fixed like immediately because that is an end game dungeon. So yeah, and there are more bugs inside that same dungeon too. So yeah. So all in all, this is not really the best company. But the game is still good in some parts, don't worry about that. And one of the good things about the company is that in NA there are live streams every now and then. I don't know about in Korea because, you know, I'm not Korean, I'm North American. But they do have live streams and there is an official Discord now, so I don't know how they'll take feedback that way. But that is just one thing I need to point out. Next thing is a business model. Elsword is a free-to-play game, but it has many pay-to-win elements, as I've said before. So some of these are costumes, enhancement, the gacha system, and gear. All of this is closely related to the item mall, as costumes, you can barely get any costumes in game. You have to buy them pretty much, or just get them off the board from people who already buy them, which in my opinion is still pay to win since someone has bought them. You should be able to craft them in game. And enhancements, you can't really get any enhancement items like Blessed Florites, and Blessed Forests and Blessed Restoration Scrolls, besides inside the item mall. And gacha is ice burners. You can only get them inside the item mall, and it has really bad RNG. So you're pretty much not just spending money on $1 for each of them. You're probably gonna be spending like $100 to not even get the full set. And gear, as I said, enhancement. Since you get enhancement items from the item mall, that kind of gives you a heads up inside of PvE and PvP. See, if it was PvE, I'd be alright. But then it's PvP too, which PvP is heavily influenced by gear nowadays, so that's kind of a bad thing. Next, the community really affects the game, because that is the people that you're going to be spending time with, and let me just say, Elsword, again, does not have the best community. Community is really salty. And there are some sources you should avoid, like the forums, babbles, and even Discord servers. And in-game there are some areas like Sparring Arena and even PvE. Pretty much everywhere inside of the game there is some people who just salt. But I mean, that's not really something on the developer's fault, but maybe if they did something to the game, like they actually did what the community wanted, then the developers, not the developers, the community wouldn't be as salty about things in Elsword. Next is character customization. So, well, this customization in general, this really affects things because it makes it so that you seem like you have a change on the game, which you don't have any initial character customization, but one thing is every piece of random gear looks different, though you most likely are going to have a costume like a promo costume, and then by the time that promo costume expires, then you would be having Henry gear or hero gear by the time that expires, if you do play the game every day. Which Henna gear and heroic gear and El Reno gear does look kind of good, so I won't hit on that. Costumes, as I said before, are only bought in the item mall, so it's kind of pay to win to customize if you're gonna do that. Gotcha system is for good costumes, which actually give stats, which is not the best thing. Skill cut-in, skill frame, and sit motions. Most likely you're only going to be able to get sit motions from the item hall, but right now there is an event right now. If you log on to Elsword and then you do the Velder Academy event, then you can get yourself a skill cut-in and a skill frame, which is, they look actually really, really good. I should probably log on every day to get the ticket so that I could do the dungeon. Titles affect your character's customization just a little bit, but you can do that for some changes. And one thing, if you are a free-to-play player, that is gonna, if you get one costume, like for example last year I got the April Fool's costume, and then the only reason I have a costume is because I bought it off someone else. But that was the only free costume that you got from a whole year, so you're most likely gonna take a really, really long time if you're gonna get another costume if you are a free-to-play player. Next would be the story. The story, in my opinion, is actually pretty good. It has good depth. But the thing is, whenever you're playing the game, it doesn't really explain most of it. Like, for example, things that you might be puzzled on, and what is the L. Like how the L's pass, and the Dark L's, and the separation of the L's. The L Lady, the L Masters, Henner, and cults, the Henner cults. You're not really get a good explanation on that until like El Renode, which you should be knowing things about the separation of the L Lady and the L Masters and stuff like that. And the priests, I believe that's the name. No, it's priestesses, yeah. You should be getting that more like early on, but you get it around like Lanox, Elysion, and El Renode, which is all late game. So it doesn't really give you a good explanation of the story. And cutscenes and dialogue are really boring. Like the dialogue whenever you're doing the quest, you most likely are not going to be reading them because it is really, really boring. So yeah, and cutscenes, it has a bug on it, which is like if you try to not skip the whole thing, but like press next for the cutscene, the voices may overlap, which is not the best sounding noise. So yeah, and dialogue besides the cutscenes are not voice acted. So yeah, but even if you don't read the dialogue, there is the story on the website, which just go on Elsword website and then look for the story tab, and then you can read the whole story there, which the story actually has some good depth, and I really like it. So yeah. Another thing is important inside of a game is immersion. If you aren't immersed in the game, you most likely aren't going to play it a lot, and you're probably not going to like it as much. So you may think that without a good story, you can't really get immersed, but if you, as I said, if you do read all of the story, it has its own depth, and each character has its own quest explaining the character's story, which can give you a good grasp on the character, so you can immerse with it. And other things that affect the immersion is music, voice acting, and gameplay. All of those things are pretty good, though lots of people say that North American voice acting is bad. I like it honestly, but if you don't like the North American voice acting, then just switch to the Korean version inside of the settings. No big deal. And by the way, I believe there's like, I forgot which region it was, but there's this one region with really bad voice acting. I forgot what it is, but you can still switch to Korean, so that's all good. Gameplay wise, it is really fun and complicated, so you can get high on that and immerse yourself into the gameplay, which is mainly what I do, honestly. Next is diversity. Diversity is really important in the game because if you don't feel like you're making a change or like a decision or anything like that, then you most likely are not gonna stick to it. I wouldn't call this game the most diverse, but with metas and community pushing to do the meta with side scrolling, you can't really change angles and stuff like that. And you do have no choice in story, but the things that you learn in gameplay, like in the game, it gives you a sense of progression and diversion. I think that's the right word. Diversion or whatever. With in-depth combo system, with using Z and X, knockdown values, and there are 37 different paths for each of the 12 characters. Well, not each of the 12 characters. There's 3 each for the 12 characters, and then 4 paths for Rose. Now, and each character has their own unique system, so if you like a game that's very character-based and you focus on your character, then Elsword is good for you. Progression-wise, this game does not have good progression. From level 1 to second job change, it seems good. You get good progression. But then mid-game is kind of stale, and the transcendent quest is kind of puts off some players. Some players might quit by the transcendent quest, and then the third job quest destroys them. Though I've done that 3 times, so I survived. And quests do get repetitive. It's pretty much just do this dungeon 3 times. Like, do this dungeon once, complete the quest, do the dungeon again, complete the quest, do the dungeon again, complete the quest. Though if you really like the gameplay, like, the gameplay is really good. So if you do like that, then you can kind of get past that and just focus on your character instead of the story and the repetitiveness. Anyways, next on to uniqueness. This game is marketed as a 2.5D game with 3D models and then 2D other things. But as I've been saying this whole video, the main thing that's unique about this game is the gameplay. So you get really hooked on combos. Skills have tons of effects, and each of the 37 paths have tons of different skills. Dungeons are really fun to clear because, like, sure, it's just like a beat 'em up game, which this game is pretty much a beat 'em up game. If you like beat 'em up games, this one's for you as well. So you pretty much beat up enemies with different skills and learning how to use the skills and stuff like that. And you learn how to use your character, and characters caps, like their skill caps, are really high. So like you can master a character, or you can master multiple characters. Like their combo system, it has 2 different buttons, Z and X key, and then there's different mixtures of them for different type of combos, which is really good, which influences PvP because PvP you can practice on a player and do good flashy combos on them with different catches and different combos, etc. And 3 things about the gameplay that I must say that are really good. And I must compliment KOG for doing this. The mentor system is really good because it allows you, if you're a noob, you can learn from veterans and make new friends with veterans and learn the game that way. Though I really would like it if they made the tutorial a bit better, because they're kind of just leaving it to the veterans to help the newbies, which isn't exactly a bad thing, but I would like for them to explain more things in the tutorial. And then there's the knockdown system. Pretty much every attack you have has a knockdown value, and once it gets to 100 inside PvP, I believe it's 150 inside PvE, then it knocks down the enemy. But you can do X drops and different effects to lower knockdown, so that, that's how you maintain combos. But obviously, every good thing has a bad thing. So, PvE and PvP are heavily dependent on gear nowadays. Like, if you have a plus 13, I keep on saying plus 13, but like no one has a plus 13 because it's so bad RNG. But if you have plus 13, then you can clear everything. You can beat everyone pretty much. And PvE is kind of pot chugging haven, so combos are kind of dead end game because people are just going to be using pots and spamming skills to clear dungeons, which is pretty much just an end game thing. I would like it if they change something so that combos are more useful. PvP is being dependent on gear. That makes it unfair. Pretty much any PvP being dependent on gear is unfair. Since level and job changes affect stats, you're going to need to be level 99 to have a chance in PvP. And I've heard this somewhere. Apparently level 99s get free A or S rank. I can't remember, but I've heard that somewhere. Don't quote me on that. But I'm pretty sure on all of my level 90, I believe it's 90 through 99, all my characters at level 99 or level 90, if I do them PvP, they're pretty much always getting A rank or an S rank. And sparring doesn't have gear, but the thing is, different modifications like trend slots, third job modifiers, etc. The damage between a second job and a third job is just horrendous. Some things bad about the game. Just an essential thing, shared bank is item all exclusive, so that makes it completely pay to win. Even I paid for shared bank. That's like the only thing I paid for. That is just an essential thing. If you play multiple characters, then you kind of need to, and most likely you are going to be playing multiple characters, because if not, then you can't get like item drop or different types of resonance builds for different things, dungeons, which, you know, if you do want to have different ones, then you can buy resonance pages, but those things cost $33. So yeah, you can either buy shared bank or get $33 so that you can do different builds like that. And endgame content is really just getting gear to reckon PvP and to show gear / achievement points, which, yeah, that's not really the best type of endgame that I would opt for. The next thing that's important in the game is the graphics. Graphics are a really big thing because it can be a turn off for multiple people. So graphics is, and the next the next one after this is audio. For audio and graphics, can be a turn off to some people, but it shouldn't be a reason to hate the game. Burped right there. Alright, so graphics inside this game, they are not horrible, and it is anime type art, which is completely subjectable, and the game graphics are actually good, and the new Super Armor animation, for example, are really good. I like the flash that it has there. The UI looks really fresh, and skills look really flashy and just gold, honestly. Next is the audio, which, as again I said, it is subjective. The voice acting isn't bad for the voice acting that I've seen. Though there is, again, that one region that has really bad voice acting. I can't remember. Please leave a comment if you guys remember and can remind me. Lots of people do say that NA voice acting sucks, but it's better than anime dubs, right? Come on, guys. Either way, if you don't like the NA voices, you can switch to Korean at least, so it's all good. Background music does suit the place that it's in. You guys can comment examples of it doesn't, because all the examples of background music that I've heard do fit the area. So yeah, and it has just overall quality music. The next thing is now into more objective things. The point of this game, it tries its best to be an anime MMORPG with combo based and learning how to play your character with great lore, good PvP, beat 'em up for PvE players. Arcade-ish and fun game with progression, but it has major flaws that kind of prevent these things. As in pay-to-win aspects, it doesn't have a good engaging story. It's gear and part line, so you can't really do combos and stuff like that. Combos are kind of useless. Costumes give stats which can only be bought in the item mall, which kind of ruins the point of gear and combos in certain classes and gear. It's really repetitive, and PvE has a really slow, really low skill cap, and it's not even worth to get a high skill in PvP when they're gear carried players. So people just sometimes just quit and just don't care about getting good in PvP. So if they do normalize arena and PvP, then it would be a lot better and things like that. The enjoyability in this game is really good. If you get past the community, the developers, and keep your wallet in your pants, have some friends, it can be really fun, which friends are easy to make inside this game. Lots of people are very friendly inside this game. I know they have some salty people, but lots of people are friendly, and I've made some friends this game as well. You can have fun trolling sometimes, and the gameplay is really fun. And you do get a sense of progression if you do something like, for example, after you finish that Transcendence quest, you get that good rush of adrenaline that's just like, alright, let's keep on going. That's good progression right there. And if you do get good in the game, you can have loads of fun. So yeah. Now, down to it, is Elsword worth playing? Yeah, some things may say, no, it's just pay to win, so don't play it, etc. But Elsword, I play it in my free time, and I have fun playing the game, so in all, yes, the game is worth playing. Anyways, guys, so my final verdict would be, this wouldn't be my first recommendation to play, but if you have time and you just want to give it a try, then you'll have a good experience playing the game and make some new friends along the way. So guys, yeah, that's wraps it up for my Elsword review. So if you like this video, be sure to leave a like on it. If you want to see more reviews like this for different games, subscribe, and be sure to leave a comment for which next game. The next game I'm probably going to review is Closers or Soulworker, but I need to play them a little bit more, so it'll probably take a few days for me to decide to write a review on it. So guys, that's it for me. Watashi wa El-Desu. Logging out.